Well, I guess I'm going to have to get a roll-in set up so that you don't see me messing with the computer. But I've dug out our kit of parts, and what you should have now is all the ribs. Should have your doublers. I haven't cut this one out. We'll do that tonight. I found a piece of half-inch that we could use for our cheek cowl. This cowl calls for a cheek cowl and an inner cheek cowl. Well, according to the rules, you're not supposed to have that, but we're going to add a piece on the inboard side, or the outboard side, excuse me, up to here so that the wing has more area to glue to. But the tank area will be clear along with the motor mount area. So you got the doublers, and I have a piece for a cheek cowl. I got a piece of quarter scrap, piece of quarter left from the rudder. I'm going to make a tool so that we can notch ribs. I guess I'm going to notch ribs tonight because I'm really not set up yet to put this wing together. But you should have your elevators, and I did all this on camera. I haven't done anything off camera. You should have your elevator stabilizer sanded, rough sanded, and shaped and ready to go. And matter of fact, we can get this ready as well. Have your fuselage pieces should be in this state with the motor mounts already set in. So let's go ahead and I guess we'll work on the fuselage a little bit. Now I'm just blending in that little bump that I had on the back. I'm using 30 grit. And I have already marked, let's see, our tail moment was 14 and a half. So back to the adage of measure twice, cut once. 14 and a half. Make a mark. I'm going to cut out the notch for the stabilizer. I got my stripper here. We could strip some spar material tonight too. I got 14 and a half. And the elevator stabilizer is 1/4 inch. Remember, our datum line that I measured everything off of was this top line, so you kind of want to keep everything pretty much straight with the top line. So we're going to measure down 1/4 inch and draw a line here, and you want to make it as wide as the stabilizer. I just use the parts. You know, I have no sense in measuring when you got the parts right handy. So we're going to make a round leading edge on that so that it fits into that fuselage, cupped in this way. You want it to lock in. So I've made the round leading edge on that. So now, remember what I said about taking the saw. You always want to take the saw to go cross grain. You don't really want to cut across the grain with a knife blade. It doesn't work very well. Let's go ahead and cut that out, and I'll file it. I will file the notch in there. So if you're following along with this project, you should have exactly what I have here. How many of you guys have exactly what I have here, you know? Or if you're building another airplane, you should have at least all these pieces. Now, Walter Umland sells the kit that has been stated, so you would have to just forego all this cutting that I'm doing here if you bought a kit. But that kit, I think, is $150. One, I don't have $150, and two, I like doing this myself. Okay, so I've cut out the notch, and now I need Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's a great place. As a professional mechanic, the tools at Harbor Freight are not very good, but for what we're doing here, like these little files, this file set I think was $4 or $3. It was ridiculous. So we're going to take the round file and I'm going to file the leading edge notch in this. It only takes a second. And this piece here should fit in absolutely perfect. And it does. Now, when I laid the stabilizer out, I laid the center line on it. So you're going to want to shape this fuselage anyway. So just use the finger method and draw a center line down the back of the fuselage. And that's where our shape is going to go to. But more importantly, it's where our rudder is going to be. But more importantly, this line that I've just drawn in the backbone lines up with the line on the stabilizer. It's 100% correct. We'll take the square. I mean, you could glue that on now. You know, it doesn't really matter whether you glue it on now or later. I'm not, because I'm going to do some shaping on this, but I know many people get excited and they want to see what it looks like. But we're going to see if we got it in there square. We don't, so there, I moved it sideways. So let's look at this. Why is, yeah, okay. Now, this file that I made up from the machinist scale is real handy. It's a metal back, so you can add pressure to it, and you can file things square with 80 grit sandpaper, and that's why I like it. I've always used a machinist scale with some sandpaper on it. I want to be able to manipulate it. This is a real good straight piece of wood, so I'm happy there. We'll wait until I get the cheek cowls on this, but I want to go ahead and mark this center line on here. So this center line also depicts where the rudder goes. So we're going to draw that out on this piece of wood as well. This is, we're going to make some lines. Now, even though this is tapered, I would suggest you put some rudder offset in it. I like rudder offset. Nothing is better for line tension overhead than rudder offset. So we'll hold that up there. Now Bob Hunt has a way of, he makes a plywood template. And you can do that. Makes a plywood template and lays it up there and glues it where this rudder is going to go out of 64th. That's a wonderful way to do things. We're just building a profile here. I'm not making a watch, so I'm not going to do that. But I am going to mark where this goes so I don't sand there. This is our 4th lesson in this build. So that means we have a total of 4 hours in it. That's not much. I'm going to add the rudder offset in this so I can now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You look right here, this side of the fuselage is going to stay flat, and we're going to taper this around this way so that the rudder is just offset on the fuselage, and that'll be plenty. I will guarantee this airplane's going to fly great. Might not want to give it up because it'll be light. This weighs nothing. So we have these pieces marked. Let's mark the bottom of this. Of course, you can't do that. So I kind of want to make everything symmetrical, so we'll sand the bottom. Oh, I wanted to tell you, in this thread for Control Line Craftsman members, I have added a link that if you make a movie of where you are on your profile, you can upload it to my channel without asking me. And you click on that link and add it to the section and let everybody see what you're doing. I want to make sure that I want to make sure this is working. So that's that piece there. I mean, it doesn't look like I'm very organized, and I'm not, but we'll get going here in a minute. So let's cut this. Let's cut these pieces here. I'll cut the other doubler that I have not cut. Now this just shows you that even though I have table saw, skill saw, bandsaw, jigsaw, you don't need it to build it. I have a belt sander, a drill press. But before I had all these tools, I did all this stuff by hand, just like you're seeing me do here with a knife and a straight edge. You don't have to have any special tools to work with balsa wood. It's just not true. Of course, this is plywood. It just takes a little longer, is all. When I was younger, we'd be sitting at the workbench with a single-edge razor blade with a matchbook spine, the striker area, cut out over one edge of the razor blade. We didn't have X-Actos back then. We had razor blades. Of course, that's back when there was no seat belts in cars, no safety seats for kids. Didn't have to wear a helmet when you rode a motorcycle or a bicycle. No knee pads. Everybody stayed out of your way on the bicycle. That really is aggravating the bike riders who think they're cars or whatever. Okay, just to make this fast, I'm going to go ahead on the belt sander and I'm going to clean these edges up. And that way we can get on to the next piece. Only be a second. Okay, that was it. Now, we're going to have an engine cut out. There just is no other way around it. So let's make sure the engine fits correctly. This was the 25 that was donated. I'm pretty sure it was Rusty. Rusty, if you're watching or you hear about it, you know Rusty. I think it was him that donated this 25. And we sure appreciate it. Make sure it fits okay. Fits good. Okay, so we're going to make the cutout. Now you can do this on the bandsaw, and I'll probably do that because it will be a whole lot faster. But I want to get this glued together tonight. We'll get this motor area glued together. So I put it on here. And I cut this out. I think I'm going to add on the back here. Normally I don't, but I think I'm going to take a piece of light ply and put that inside there. Cut a piece 1/2 inch by whatever and add that. Or I could even do that with 16. So give me a second. I'm going to cut this notch out. Instead of using the knife, I just cut it on the bandsaw. And you can do it your favorite way. I mean, I'm not sure whether I can get by with just one side or I have to cut both sides. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut both sides, it looks like. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. Connect the dots. The only bad thing about these scalpels is they're hard to steer. Once they're really a flimsy, they're for cutting human flesh. They're not for cutting plywood, but I get it done with them. So back to the hard-backed file that I made. You just clean these edges up. Remember, we haven't glued anything together. We're just getting the kit of parts ready to go. Once this kit of parts is put together, this airplane will go together so fast you won't believe it. Let's see if I need to cut that other side out. Nope. Good. All right. Skated through that. I cut what left the line on, and I'm bringing the cut up to the line with sandpaper. It's the best way to do it. That way it'll be the most accurate. I'm not building a watch here. I'm not building a high competition stunt plane. I'm only building a beginner's airplane. But I do want it to be nice. Kind of rough there. We'll get that sanded when I get this all together. All right. So this is the outboard side. O-U-T. O-U-T. I think we're going to make some type of clunk tank for this thing. And I'm going to try to engineer some type of adjustable clunk tank mount. I haven't figured out how to do it. I haven't built a profile in so long, it's ridiculous. At least 25 years. I can't remember a profile I've had in the last 25 years. I just don't build them. But there's nothing to them. So, kit of parts. Okay, let's cut out our 1/2-inch cheek cowl. So I got that. I think I'm going to use an RC style horn and just bend a piece of piano wire 3/32 loop for the elevator connecting horn or whatever. So Harbor Freight, $4 files, well worth the investment. Harbor Freight ought to pay me for advertising. So we got the kit of parts. Now I'm going to cut this piece, and then we're going to strip some 6 spars, and then probably tomorrow night we'll go ahead and notch those ribs. We'll sit down for an hour. I'll figure out how to notch all those ribs all at the same time so they're equally spaced. Would you guys, after we get these parts cut, would you guys be surprised if I could put this whole airplane together in an hour? Of course, we're going to have all the pieces sanded to shape, but This was the only piece of 1/2 inch I had in the place. I used it as a test for cutting the stabilizer on the Thunderbolt. That would be a little surprising. No, I could do this in an hour. Once all the parts are cut, I sure wish video would have been around. I think it was I don't know, '07, about '07 when I built that 11-day Aries from start to finish. Scratch built, won the Spirit of '62 award with it, and it's a nice airplane. Okay, I'm going to straighten this up on the belt sander, and we'll move on to the next part. Let me move this. I should have been timing here. I'm looking at this. We only got a 1/2 hour left. 34 minutes, okay. So, so that's that. The reason why I use the belt sander, is that when you put this on the bed of the belt sander, well, here, I got a spot here. Let me clean this up. I like things to be square. They still didn't get it. Let me make sure we're not getting too crazy here. I might have to fill it. If you put this on the belt sander or the disc sander's bed, it makes this edge square. Otherwise, if you cut it with your knife, just by the sheer way you hold your wrist, unless, see if you look here, it's square. Just by the sheer way that you hold your wrist at an angle or whatever, your cut is not at a perfect 90 degrees. So if you do it on the belt sander, it goes pretty fast. So let's see what we got here. Now I want, like I said, I want a piece inside here, and let me just take a look at see what the plans say. They go all the way to the nose with a piece inside. I don't have a piece of 1/2 inch that much, so I'm going to, what am I going to do here? Make it easy. First thing I want to do is I want to square this up. Okay. We're still a little short, but that's okay. We'll just add a piece here. I'm just kind of off the top of my head guessing that the tank is going to be at least that long. I don't have a tank, so I'll have to get one. And we'll just cut this out right here and add a piece on the bottom. Now, I've left the leading edges not cut because they're very difficult to cut with a saw and pretty easy to do with a Dremel. And I'll show you what I mean. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make these angles. I'm going to go back to the sander. Not really much to see there. I mean, I know I turn my back on you and you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just running this up to the line. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing there. Sanding it to the line. So let's see what we got here. This is the outboard. I'm going to go here. We need a piece on the bottom. It's actually on the top. It's actually on the top. So I got to add a piece here. Just tack it. Now I've shown this a kind of concept 2 times. If you had watched my Thunderbolt stabilizer or rudders build, I basically did this the same thing. I glued it on, then we cut them. Makes it a whole lot simpler. And it makes it exact. So for your kit of parts, you should now have, let's cut this. Okay. Doublers, cheek cowl, and inner. So these pieces are all done in the last 30 minutes, so that's good. So let's make sure what we got here. Now, if you want, you can go all the way forward with the inner cheek cowl, but I think there's a rule against it in profile where it cannot be more than 1 inch at the nose or whatever. So technically, this piece here is cheating, and this piece here is more important than anything you got out here, because what this gives you is 1.5 inches of area to glue the fuselage to the leading edge of the wing, where you can get the vibration dampening, because the biggest problem with profiles is engine run. And the more you can dampen the motor and make the nose solid, the better engine run you're going to have. So this inner cheek cowl really adds a lot to it. So when I talked about cutting those inner pieces out, I talked about doing it with the motor tool, and that's exactly, it goes so much faster with a moto tool, Dremel, however you want to say it. If I can find my standing. Looks like I need another head on that. I have another full. Here we go. This one here needs another disc on it. We got discs. So there we go. Okay, making sure to put my tools back because I take the router bit out and I'm putting it back in the router bit case because if I don't, I will lose it and it will be gone in the shop and I'll never find it. It only took a second. Okay, so now let's get these open and get these ready to go. I'm sorry that I wasn't prepared. I'm eating up a little bit of your time monkeying with tools, but kind of got to. I'm going to do 2 blades, or 2 discs. Now you can do what you want. I normally just cut these off. First off, they're harder than heck to get on. This one don't want to cut off. Maybe it's a knife I'm using. Having a hard time. Okay. Let me see if I can get it loose with a screwdriver. Oh, man. There we go. Yeah, this one came off pretty easy. I won't do 2, I'll just do 1. Ask the questions if you want to know. But what we're doing is we're just getting a kit of parts ready to go. When I scratch build full-bodied airplanes, I usually do it in sections like I showed you with my Thunderbolt build where one day I do it as a flat rate type mechanic would do it. I said, well, the rudder should take an hour. The elevator stabilizer should take 2, 3. Fuselage should take 6 hours, whatever. So the wings, if you're going to do a built-up wing, that's what really takes the time. About 2 days it takes me. It's a day of cutting out the parts when you do a lost form wing. A day of cutting the parts out, and a day to put it together. So anyway, we're going to finish cutting our pieces. A lot of people are allergic to balsa dust if you do wear a mask. One. Two, let's cut out this doubler piece. Now, if you look at these pieces up close, they're right to the line. It's a lot easier to sand than it is to cut. So, we have 20 minutes left. I need to debate. I really don't want to set this up to glue my doublers on, or I really don't want to glue tonight because I've got other jobs to do on the bench. So, let's do this. I still need our trailing edge is going to be different than what they show. I'm not sure. Yeah, our trailing edge is going to be different. We could cut our trailing edge pieces. I don't want to cut the wingtip until I get the wing together, so that the wingtips will be the last parts cut. Let's see here. What is the best course of action? I'm sorry, I gotta think about this. It's been a while since I built the profile. Okay. The doublers are done. T-cal is done. Inner's done. T-slot is done. So this part is done. Let's get 1, 2, 3, 6 1/4-inch spars stripped. So we have the 1/4-inch wood here. This is a tricky aspect when you're cutting spars. I can already see the piece that I'm going to use. Now I'm going to use this piece. Yep, I already had a marked spar. Okay, when you're grading wood, it's taken me a lot of years to figure it out, and a lot of people, have shown me or whatever some tricks. The reason we're going to use this piece of wood for the spar is that the grain runs pretty even. What I mean by that, there's no hard spots, there's no real whoops or curves in it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to strip with a stripper, and we're going to strip 6 1/4-inch pieces out of this. Now, if it doesn't strip and it comes off with a hoop in it, we're going to do it another way. There's 2 ways to do it and not get a hoop. And the first way is to sand it, and I don't really want to do that. That will be so much work. So we're going to strip 6 1/4-inch strips off of this piece. Now you just hold this up there tight and try to hold it at a 90 degree. And it looks like it's going to strip those right. And it did. So we lucked out. I picked the right piece of wood. It's very important that you do pick the right piece of wood when you're getting ready to make spars, because you want them straight. And every time you go to the hobby shop and look in their 1/4-inch by 1/4-inch bin, they're always like snakes. And I think that's because the guys who chose the wood didn't know what to look for. You can't pick a piece of wood with a right turn grain in it. in the middle of the block. Otherwise, this is great. You know, it's almost a shame that I'm building this profile for somebody else because those are good straight pieces. But if this piece of wood came in about halfway and it got dark right here and you could see the grain go off this way, this stick, when you cut it away, would bow the opposite direction. So we're halfway there. We got 6 of the, or 3 of the 6 that we need. I might. You say, well, why do you need 6? Well, you need leading edge, trailing edge. So I really need 8 now that I think about it. Leading edge, trailing edge, top and bottom. This is 1 wing's worth right here, so I need 8. So hopefully we can get 4 more out of this piece. One, two, three, that's 4. So these sticks here, and they are extremely straight, which is really surprising. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to masking tape these together so they don't become warped. I'm going to tape them to that other piece right here. And this is going to be part of our kit of parts, because I certainly don't want to get them warped. Three, 6. Yeah. Well, I was going to tape them like that, but just tape them that way. And you ask, why am I taping them? Well, if you tape them together, they have a less chance to warp. And I hate it when I go to the hobby shop and sometimes I'll buy sticks instead of stripping them, and Art will put a rubber band on them. I go, no, don't put a rubber band on them, Art. God, that aggravates me. A rubber band divot will probably be where that stick would break. It's not a good idea. So this is our wing. Inboard flap, outboard flap, wing spar. This is it's a piece that we don't need. So let's take inventory and see what we got. We got 10 minutes. We got a set of plans. big deal. Big plan. And trust me, this thing will look like an Excalibur. It will be close. The only thing I changed was the airfoil, and I showed you how to do that. I don't need this, so that's not part of our kit. And we're real close to gluing this together now. Next session will be notching ribs. So get ready for a real boring time. We'll have to be talking about something. We can bend up the horns too, I guess. Let me tack this together. I just want to tack it so I don't lose it. Of course. Are you guys getting anything out of the streams? I see there's 5 on now. I don't know who's on, but I know Dane's on there. Or Dane, yeah, Dane. He's my loyal subscriber. Okay, rudder. This is what I want you guys to have at least done. Inboard, outboard doublers. Your fuselage should be done with your motor mounts cut. Nothing has to be glued yet, but everything should be cut. You got your inner doubler. Rib set. And remember, I didn't stack sand these, I cut them all by hand. You got your 8 1/4-inch spars and your 2 pieces of flat material and your fuselage cut. And that's basically the whole airplane. It's tomorrow night when we cut and notch these spars, and I think about how I want to do the trailing edge, I might do a step edge here. Oh, the gas smell was cooking going on downstairs. That's why I had to delay the stream a half an hour. Couldn't find the smell. So we might notch these trailing edges here. And the reason why they might get notched in that fashion is I really don't want to cap strip this wing. I don't want to make more work for myself, so I'm going to think about it tonight. What would be the best way to notch these, the fastest way to notch these, and I think it's probably going to be on my table saw, but I'm not sure, so I'll keep you posted on how I'm going to do that. Like I said, I haven't built a profile in so long. But the problem is, well, I don't know. The plans called for what size ribs? They called for, it doesn't say. I used 16th inch ribs. It looks like I'm going to have to cap strip this thing. I used 16th and probably should have used 3/32 or 1/8 inch. But because I'm working off 8.5 by 11, you can't read the little print, or I can't. But it doesn't matter. It's also calling for 5/8 square leading edge. Well, we're going to use quarter. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to build the wing in the normal way, meaning I'm going to cut 4 pieces with a trailing edge of 1/16 that will lay on top. We'll do a small leading edge of maybe 1.5 inches, 1/16, and then cap strip each one of these, where this one's not 3/16 of an inch wide. It'll make it stronger. These are thinner pieces of material, so it'll be stronger than this setup here, and it will resist twisting. So that's what we're going to do. But tomorrow night we're going to notch ribs. Let's see if I made it correct. Oh yeah, yeah. I've already subconsciously set it up to be sheeted, so we're going to do that. So are there any questions this evening? I'm on kind of a delay, so I'll wait while you guys ask questions. I don't know. I think I set it on a 2-second delay or whatever. I can always edit it up when the video is over. That's the only patterns I have for this airplane. If anybody's interested, I'll be more than happy to put them in an envelope and mail them to you. You don't need them, but make copies or whatever. So that's the end of the class for the evening. I hope you guys got something out of it. Didn't get a whole lot done. I guess I probably did get a whole lot done compared to some. But our kit of parts is about complete. We can start gluing and sanding and shaping. And okay, great, Mike. I'm hoping that you know that these help. It really won't probably help until I show you my alignment and finish of this airplane. I really believe that if all I had to do is this airplane, I could build probably 2 a week, finished, 2 a week. There's nothing there. It's very basic. So that would be, there's 20 hours work in each one. That's it. I just don't see any more than that. So anyway, if you have any questions, you can ask them on the forum. You can call me on the phone, send me an email, leave a question here. Doesn't much matter. I'll be more than happy to answer. The guy who gets this at the Nationals should be extremely happy, though, because it'll be all brand new. New motor, new tank, new airplane, new everything. So until the next class, tight lines and see ya. end the stream. I'll edit this out when the stream's over. So see you on the next class.